Imagine a quiet harbor before dawn, no horns, no headlines, just the slow lap of water against stone. Somewhere in that darkness, a single ship is loading, not gold or guns, but something far more dangerous, patience. While the world scrolls through panic headlines and quarterly panic cycles, someone is wiring their life for 2035, not 2025. And that's exactly why 2025 will reward the bold, not the loud, not the viral, but the bold who built quietly while others burned out. Picture this: two merchants on the same street in Hangzhou, 1999. One opens a stall, shouting, "Biggest discounts," every morning. The other wakes at 4:30 a.m., maps out where customers will walk tomorrow, learns their names, and quietly stocks what they'll need next week. 20 years later, one is gone. The other built an ecosystem. That's not luck. That's a blueprint. And today, in 2025, we're not facing chaos. We're facing clarity. The fog of distraction has lifted. The real test isn't who has the shiniest app or the loudest opinion. It's who has the deepest roots, the widest map, and the calmest hands. Stay with me till the end, because what I'm about to share isn't a prediction. It's a survival blueprint not for billionaires, but for builders. For you. Whether you're running a food truck, coding in your bedroom, or managing a team of 3. Because boldness isn't about risk, it's about rhythm. This isn't about surviving 2025. It's about thriving through it by playing a game few even see. Let me tell you something. The real game isn't played in news cycles. It's played in corridors, trade corridors, learning corridors, relationship corridors. While everyone watches the front door of geopolitics, the quiet ones are mapping the side gates, the back alleys, the underground rivers of value that move unseen. Power isn't loud. Power is patient. And in 2025, patience with direction becomes power. This isn't about being fearless. It's about being frugal with fear. You don't eliminate risk, you design around it. You don't chase trends, you study tectonic plates. The bold aren't the ones jumping off cliffs. They're the ones building bridges before anyone even sees the river. So what's the hidden game behind why 2025 will reward the bold? It's this: the world is shifting from noise to navigation, from shouting to shipping, from short-term signaling to long-term structuring. And the bold will win, not because they're brave in crisis, but because they prepared in calm. Now, let's talk geography, not just of land, but of opportunity. Look at the map, not the political map with red and blue lines. Look at the economic map, the one drawn by shipping lanes, fiber optic cables, rail lines, and digital trust zones. From Singapore to Rotterdam, from Nairobi to Mexico City, value is flowing through new arteries. The old superhighways, Silicon Valley to Wall Street, London to Frankfurt, are still important, but they're no longer the only routes. In 2025, the smart money isn't betting on who wins the next election. It's betting on who builds the next corridor. Think of the India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. Not a weapon, a wire, a rail, a data pipe. It doesn't shout, it connects. And connection is the new control. You see, in business and in life, choke points aren't just places to block, they're places to build alternatives. When one route tightens, the bold don't panic. They map a bypass. They learn Swahili. They hire someone from Lagos. They partner with a logistics startup in Bogota. They don't wait for permission from Davos. They create optionality, and optionality is oxygen when the main pipe gets clogged. And here's what most miss. Alliances aren't just between nations. They're between people. Between a teacher in Manila and a coder in Lisbon. Between a farmer in Punjab and a food tech founder in Berlin. The new supply chain isn't just steel and semiconductors, it's trust, language, shared calendars, and mutual curiosity. Let me tell you something about leverage. It's not about size, it's about position. A small business that sits at the intersection of 3 emerging flows: AI services, green logistics, local manufacturing, has more leverage than a giant stuck in one dying lane. And incentives? They've flipped. 10 years ago, the incentive was to go global, fast scale, burn, dominate. Today, the incentive is to go deep, embed, adapt, endure. Local resilience paired with global awareness. That's the new dual engine. You don't need $1 billion fund. You need 100 reliable relationships. You don't need to be on every platform. You need to be essential to one community. Now, let me tell you a story. In 2003, during SARS, my team and I were locked down in Hangzhou. No one was buying anything. Fear was thicker than smog. But instead of cutting staff, we taught them. Every morning at 6 a.m., we gathered online, not to panic, but to learn. One of our youngest engineers, just 22, taught himself how to secure e-commerce transactions. That kid later built the backbone of our payment system. His parents had sold their scooter to pay his tuition. He slept on a mattress in a shared apartment. But every night, he blocked 90 minutes to study not what was trending, but what would matter in 10 years. That's the human stake. Not glory, not exit, but the quiet dignity of becoming indispensable through discipline. In 2025, that kid's mindset is your lifeline. Because while others scroll doom reels, you're building a micro capability no algorithm can replicate. While others wait for the market to recover, you're training your team in cross-border empathy. While others blame the system, you're learning how to navigate it. You see, I failed the college entrance exam twice, failed English 3 times, got rejected by KFC, yes, KFC, while 23 others got in. I applied to Harvard 10 times, 10 times silence, but each no taught me something. Rejection isn't the end, it's data. When we started Alibaba with 18 people and $60,000, we didn't have a server room. We had a leaky apartment and a dream written on a whiteboard. But we had one rule: no complaining after 9 a.m. From 9 to 6 we built. From 6 to 9 we learned. And every Sunday we asked, what did we ship this week? Not what did we talk about. That's the founder's lens. It's not about genius. It's about grind with direction. Boldness, to me, is waking up at 5 a.m. Not because you love mornings, but because you owe your future self a head start. It's reading 1 page a day, not to impress, but to outlast. It's walking 30 minutes in the evening, not for fitness, but for clarity. You don't win by going viral. You win by going invisible until it's time. And time is coming. In 2025, the bold will be those who treated time as equity, who compounded small skills daily, who built in public but learned in private, who said no to easy fame so they could say yes to hard mastery. I used to drink beer after work to numb the frustration. Then I realized frustration is fuel if you channel it. I used to blame my boss. Then I realized your boss is a mirror. If you see incompetence, ask, what can I learn from this failure? That shift from blame to blueprint is what separates survivors from thrivers. Now, how do you translate this into your life? If you're a student, don't chase certificates. Chase curiosity corridors. Learn one global skill like cross-cultural negotiation or AI literacy, not to get hired, but to become irreplaceable. Map your learning like a trader maps ports. What's flowing in? What's valuable next year? If you're a freelancer, stop bidding on $20 gigs. Build a signature offering that only you can deliver. Maybe it's local SEO for Indonesian bakeries or supply chain audits for eco-brands. Specialize until you're the only name that comes up. Then, partner with someone in another corridor, say, a designer in Chile or a developer in Vietnam. If you're a small business owner, hedge your customer base. Don't rely on one platform, one city, one currency. Test cross-border microsales. Use Telegram groups, WhatsApp communities, local meetups. Your next best customer isn't on Instagram. They're in a quiet forum you haven't joined yet. If you're a job seeker, stop sending resumes. Start solving visible problems. Build a mini case study. Here's how I'd improve your onboarding in Jakarta. Then send it not to HR, but to a mid-level manager who actually feels the pain. Boldness isn't asking for a chance. It's creating one. And save. Not just money, though. Save that too. Save attention. Save energy. Save your best thinking for your 90-minute deep work block. Protect it like gold. Hire people who know more than you. I did. My first CFO knew balance sheets better than I knew my own phone number. My CTO could code in 3 languages while I struggled with English. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Build routines, not resolutions. Wake at 5 a.m. For 30 days, not forever. Just to prove you can. Read 1 page. Speak English with a tourist in the park, even if you stumble. Each tiny act builds your boldness muscle. Now, listen, this isn't magic. It's math. Compound discipline over 365 days, and you'll outpace 99% who rely on motivation. This will sound repetitive, but it must be said, You don't win by chasing the spotlight. You win by tending your flame. You don't win by reacting to headlines. You win by writing your own story, one disciplined day at a time. You don't win by waiting for perfect conditions. You win by shipping in the rain. You don't win by copying the last decade's playbook. You win by mapping the next decade's corridors. You don't win by being the loudest in the room. You win by being the calmest in the storm. Now, I know what the smart skeptic says. Jack, this sounds nice, but what about inflation? What about AI taking jobs? What about geopolitical risk? Let me answer calmly. Inflation? Yes, prices rise. But your value rises faster if you keep learning. The person who can solve real problems in multiple contexts will always eat. AI taking jobs? It's not taking jobs, it's taking tasks. And that frees you to do the human work. Empathy, judgment, curation, trust building. AI can't negotiate a truce between two partners. It can't comfort a scared client. It can't decide what's worth building. That's your edge. Geopolitical risk? Of course it exists. But corridors adapt. When one door closes, 3 windows open if you're looking. The bold don't wait for stable times. They build stability through redundancy, multiple income streams, multiple skills, multiple friendships across borders. Risk isn't eliminated, it's distributed. Now here's your private counsel what to do in the next 7 days. Day 1, wake up 30 minutes, earlier than usual. Don't check your phone. Write 1 sentence. What corridor am I building? Day 2, identify 1 small skill that will matter in 2027, maybe prompt engineering, cross-border compliance, or emotional intelligence in remote teams. Spend 20 minutes learning it. Day 3, reach out to someone outside your usual circle, someone from another city, country, or industry. Ask 1 question. What's changing in your world? Listen more than you speak. Day 4, audit your distractions. Delete 1 app that drains you. Replace it with a weekly learning ritual podcast, book, course, but only if it's tied to your corridor. Day 5, block 90 minutes for deep work. Guard it like your life depends on it, because your future does. Day 6, practice frugality not just with money, but with words, with promises, with energy. Say no to 1 shallow opportunity so you can say yes to 1 deep one. Day 7, reflect. Not on what you achieved, but on what you learned. Then plan next. Weeks rhythm, not goals, but grooves. This isn't about hustle, it's about harmony. Between learning and doing, between local roots and global branches, between patience and pace. And now, let me add something deeper, something we rarely talk about. The boldest move in 2025 might be the quietest one, choosing dignity over desperation. In a world screaming scale or die, the true act of courage is to build something small, human, and lasting. To say, I won't trade my values for visibility. I've seen companies collapse not from competition, but from internal rot haste, pride, secrecy. The bold protect their culture like a flame in the wind. They hire slowly. They fire cleanly. They speak truth, even when it costs them a quarter's growth. And here's a truth no one wants to hear. The market doesn't reward speed. It rewards reliability. In 2025, after years of disruption, people are exhausted. They don't want more innovation. They want trust. They want someone who shows up, delivers, and doesn't vanish when the trend shifts. So ask yourself, am I building a trend or a tradition? A trend fades. A tradition compounds. Your tradition might be answering every customer email yourself for the first 1,000 customers. It might be paying your team before you pay yourself. It might be refusing to exaggerate your results in a pitch deck. These aren't nice to haves. They're your moat. And moats aren't dug in a day. They're deepened by daily decisions. Also remember, boldness includes knowing when not to act. In 2000, during the dot-com crash, everyone was selling. We were buying trust by keeping promises, paying bills on time, standing by our partners. That quiet integrity became our brand. Not a logo, a legacy. Now, look around. The people who are thriving in 2025 aren't those who predicted everything right. They're those who prepared for anything. They diversified not just income, but mindsets. They read history, not just headlines. They studied how empires rose and fell, not to mimic, but to avoid the traps. Because history teaches us, every great shift begins with a few disciplined people in a room no one notices. So be that person, host that room, even if it's virtual, even if it's just you and your notebook. And never forget, your age is irrelevant. I started Alibaba at 35. I failed until 30. You're never too old to learn, too young to lead, or too late to begin. 2025 doesn't care about your past. It cares about your posture. Are you leaning forward or leaning on excuses? Here's something else the bold understand. Resilience isn't just enduring pain, it's designing anti-fragility into your life. That means stress test your business every quarter. That means having a plan Z for your career. That means building relationships before you need them. The bold don't wait for a crisis to reveal their weakness. They invite small challenges to harden their systems. And they protect their inner world fiercely. In 2025, your mental bandwidth is your most strategic asset. Guard it like a vault. Say no to meetings that don't move the needle. Turn off notifications that steal focus. Create margins in your day not for laziness, but for insight. Some of my best ideas came during that 30-minute evening walk, not in boardrooms. Finally, remember this. The boldest people I've met weren't CEOs. They were teachers in rural schools, nurses working double shifts, single parents running side hustles after bedtime. Their boldness wasn't loud, it was relentless. They showed up when no one was watching. They chose hope over helplessness. In 2025, that's the ultimate leverage, choosing agency over anxiety, because the map of the future isn't drawn by algorithms, it's sketched by humans who refuse to quit. And that's you. You were not born to scroll. You were born to ship. In 2025, the world won't reward the anxious. It won't reward the cynical. It will reward those who showed up with discipline, with dignity, with a map in one hand and a shovel in the other. Because boldness isn't a moment, it's a rhythm. And your rhythm starts now. Stay ready, not scared. Stay curious, not clever. Stay generous, not greedy. The future doesn't belong to the loud. It belongs to the builders. And builders don't wait for permission. They lay the first brick in the dark, trusting that dawn will find them already standing. And when that dawn comes, as it always does, the world won't ask how loudly you spoke. It will ask, did you build something that lasts? That's the only question that matters. Answer it not with words, but with work.